Rock Metal Nation, what is up? Real quick before we get started, I just wanted to let you know that Rock Metal Studios, the very same studio that brings you the Rock Metal podcast, is looking to help bands who are able to record their tracks either at home or in a professional recording studio, but need some help mixing. Go ahead and send me an email at therockmetalpodcast@gmail.com. That's therockmetalpodcast@gmail.com. We can go ahead and discuss mixing your tracks for free. The Rock Metal Podcast, episode 148 with Katalina Kicks. All right, Rock Metal Nation, what is up? This is John from the Rock Metal Podcast. That sample you just heard was Waterfall by Katalina Kicks, who I've got on the show with me right now. They've got a new album called Vices that they released just last year, with Waterfall, the track that you just heard, being the first of 3 brand new singles coming later this year. Right now I'm being joined by vocalist and guitarist Ian George and bassist Connor Cotterill to share some stories about the music and share more info about the band. Boys, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having us.
Absolutely. Great to have you on. Let's go listen back to that track, Waterfall.
I would lie down, yet rest while inside. Won't cure the disease, but we'll stay alive. It's all perspective. Some of us say that it's not a sign. You'll disagree, just a fantasize. Wherever we go, you'll be by my side. It's all collective. So over
right, coming back from Waterfall, absolutely love the track, especially the music video, which we'll get into in a little bit here. What is the story or inspiration behind Waterfall?
So Waterfall, it kind of, it was a song that we were kind of jamming for a while. It's not really our usual sort of sound and style, but ever since kind of Connor came on board, he lent a different kind of direction to the music as well. And but it was a song that was written about sort of coping with depression and mental health, and we've all kind of gone through that kind of thing in our lives. And so and the lyrics the music came first, and the lyrics kind of lent themselves to that because it's kind of got that kind of sort of, I suppose, softer but more, I suppose, meaningful feel to it, if you see what I mean. It's our usual stuff is really kind of thrashed out and it's very kind of, I suppose, raw, but now with that one we thought we'd kind of define it and make it more, I suppose, more meaningful, I suppose. Does that resound? Yeah, you mentioned a couple of things there. One is that, the music came first, lyrics came last. I'm curious, with the title Waterfall, what does that represent? It's a difficult one. It's the kind of overwhelming feeling of, I suppose there's positive and there's negative in it as well, and I think some people see something like a waterfall and they think it's kind of it's very powerful, sometimes it can be quite oppressive, and then when likewise if you see that as well, you can see it's very powerful, but it's very soothing at the same time. So it's kind of something that kind of lends itself, and the way that I wrote the lyrics, it was more, I suppose, it started off like it's kind of very much very deep and quite kind of heavy, and everything's very oppressive and it's on top, but by the end there's this kind of a bit more of a release, I suppose, in it, without getting too sort of deep and heavy about it all. But I think that's the kind of cathartic side of things, and I think it's just, I suppose, just the symbolism, I suppose, it's just very much powerful, beautiful, but at the same time there's dark edges to it. Yeah, absolutely. Now, you mentioned that the music came first, lyrics came last. I'm curious, is that how the writing process for you guys usually works, or is that a little bit different? Yeah, it's pretty much the same, really. I mean, usually you kind of get a melody around stuff, and we'll come up with some songs, and we'll jam some bits and pieces, and we'll get a kind of structure of stuff we like with a melody around it. And then I'll usually go away and write the lyrics, or we'll get some lyrics coming off, and we'll work out what we're going to do from it. So wow, cool stuff. Now, something else you mentioned was that Connor came in and some things changed. I'm just kind of curious to hear more about how that process went for you guys. Well, yeah, I mean, I think with Waterfall, especially, kind of wrote it around that bass line at the beginning, really, didn't we? I mean, like, kind of started off the bass line, and then Jace, the drummer, came up with a beat, and then kind of worked around it, and then we kind of had these different ideas and influences, like Stone Roses was one of them, that kind of feel going for it, which is, I've known these guys for a while before I was in the band. I had a friend who was in the band before, and that's when I first met the guys, and I knew the two previous albums quite punky and that, and I loved them, but yeah, I try to hold back, but I can be a busy bass player sometimes. So. Try to hold back, but it's hard to contain you. But it's great. I mean, I think in the past we were like, it was me and Jace would write a lot of stuff because our old bass player didn't really write anything, and we just took something but like this way we can actually kind of experiment and say we're just working on the new track at the moment, and we just kind of, I'll just come up with some ideas, or Jace will come up with a riff, or Connor will come up with a riff, and we'll just and it'll work really naturally and kind of really organically, which is great. Yeah, it feels very natural, which is nice. Yeah, it's quite organic and natural. It's not hard or frustrating or anything. Everything written so far has been natural. Cool. Now, for Rock Metal Nation who dug the track Waterfall, if you go ahead and go to today's show notes, that's www.therockmetalpodcast.ca. You can go and see the music video for Waterfall, which is an incredible piece of, I want to say cinematography, but a lot of it is drawn. So go ahead and take us through the development of the music video for Waterfall. Yeah, this is a really kind of a bit of a random one, because it's like I always thought I wanted something animated for it, and it just sort of would lend itself to animation. And where I work, I've got a friend who said, I know an animator who's great and would be really into doing this kind of stuff. And so I just literally approached this guy, Ewan, and he was amazing. And he just said he'll work with it, and he'll kind of, I gave him the lyrics and said, this is what it's about. We gave him free rein, really. We just said, this is what it's about, and this is what we want to kind of convey. And he said, I'll just put something together, and we watched it, and just blown away really with what he's what he's done, because it sort of lends itself to the song perfectly.
Wow, fantastic. All right, let's go listen to the next track, We Don't Care.
This is our one and only last call at 3:30. So far and insincerely, your fake news breeds prophecy. We don't care, we don't care. Eyes down, a vacant stare. We don't care, we don't care. Not on a Sunday, I will make you a millionaire. We don't care, we don't care. You better call your daddy, 'cause you're gonna get scared. Like I used to. Yes, they share. Like we mean it. We are the one and only socialite millionaires. Champagne and mass division. Photoshop us all instead. We don't care. We don't care. Eyes down, a vacant stare. We don't care. We don't care. Not on a Sunday, I will make you a millionaire. We don't care. We don't care. You better call your daddy, 'cause you're gonna get scared. Like we used to. Yes, they share. We don't care, we don't care. Eyes down, a vacant stare. We don't care, we don't care. Not on a Sunday, I will make you a millionaire. We don't care, we don't care. Come so far with austerity, what's left? We don't care, we don't care. You better call your daddy, 'cause you're gonna get scared. Better call your daddy, 'cause you're gonna get scared. Better call your daddy, 'cause you're gonna get scared. Better call your daddy, 'cause you're gonna get scared.
Rock Metal Nation, it's John from the Rock Metal Podcast for a real quick break to let you know that Jay over at Metal Mayhem Radio is looking to help you get your band in rotation on his station. So go ahead and hit up Jay at studio@metalmayhemradio.co.uk. That is studio@metalmayhemradio.co.uk. Just go ahead and say that the Rock Metal Podcast sent you. He'll get you into rotation on Metal Mayhem Radio. All right, come back from We Don't Care. Now, definitely, I think, and this was mentioned a little bit earlier, definitely a more punk-ish vibe from We Don't Care as compared to Waterfall.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, 100%.
Speaking of punk and We Don't Care, what is the story of inspiration behind We Don't Care?
So this one was really to do with we've been through like a bit of a journey with the band. So we've been going for maybe sort of 5-6 years, and we've encountered a lot of people who have just been backstabbing and pretty shameless about themselves and stuff, and it's just, it kind of gets to the point that it's sort of, I know a lot of musicians, a lot of bands go through the same thing, finding people that you can kind of trust in the music business. And so I think We Don't Care, it was actually the first track that we came with Connor actually played on with us as a new song, and we just finished the last album, and we just been sort of massively let down by this person, and we just thought it, and it just lent itself. It came out with the riff, and Connor came up with the kind of the dirty bass sound as well, and it just, the lyrics again, they lent themselves to We Don't Care, and it was just a kind of statement about we just really we should just look after number one and be out, and because we're quite nice people, I think, and I think some people see that as a bit of a weakness and kind of take advantage, especially of musicians. I mean, there's so many people in the world that kind of just get ripped off in this industry and in the film industry and anything that's involved in kind of creative side of things. And that was our kind of sort of statement. And I think it kind of worked. It was good. It was literally just laid it down, 2.5 minute song. We Don't Care. Simple as that, really.
Fantastic. Now, for Rock Metal Nation who dug the track We Don't Care, if you go ahead and go to today's show notes, www.therockmetalpodcast.ca, you can go and see the music video for We Don't Care. Now, similar questions before, go ahead and take us through the construction of the music video for We Don't Care.
Yeah, this one was great. I mean, because we worked with this guy called Rob Johnston, and he did a lot of our old videos when we first started out, and he did a video for a song called Guns a little while back, And it was when we did We Don't Care, we kind of envisaged this perfect kind of melee of just craziness and stuff. And he's got this kind of tongue-in-cheek sort of style to the stuff he did, and that's what the song wanted to be as well. We wanted to be kind of take ourselves a bit too seriously. We wanted that kind of tongue-in-cheek kind of element. And again, I just said to him, these are the lyrics, and I trusted him like 100% really. And I said, this is the kind of idea that we've got, is getting some footage together and making it kind of a Rage Against the Machine kind of feel to it, with some real footage of people doing whatever. And he got back and he said, well, I've got the idea of basically scientists coming to the planet Earth and seeing just everybody just fighting and going mental at each other. And I was just like, spot on, just run with it. And he just gave us the first edit of the thing and of the video. We were just like, yeah, this is spot on. And there was literally just, it came together in the whole song from actually being written, recorded, and released was about a month, I think. It was just so quick. It was brilliant. It was just right, and it felt great, and it looks great. So
yeah, absolutely. Now, for Rock Metal Nation who dug the two tracks, Waterfall and We Don't Care, this is kind of like a two-part question, because Waterfall is the new single, and We Don't Care is from the album Vices. So I'm just curious, take us through Vices. What should we expect when we pick up Vices? And then also the second part of that question is, what should we expect for the rest of the year with the three singles coming up?
So We Don't Care is not actually part of Vices. It was the single that we released after that. So, but Vices, I mean, it's very similar to some of the heavier stuff we do on Vices. But that album, yeah, that came together really well, and it was quite a quick kind of, again, quite an organic process that we wrote that over the course of about 6 or 7 months, and it was great. There's some good light and shade on the track on the album, and there's some heavier stuff. We've got a track called Mannequin that opens it up, and that's really heavy, and then it goes down to a track, I think it's number 7 on there, which is really kind of quite chilled out and a bit more experimental. So we like to sort of mix it up, I guess. And in terms of the stuff that we're doing at the moment, we've got another single called Kick It that's coming out in about a month and a half's time. We're going to be touring around that, so we've got about 10 dates around the UK for that, and that's going to be sort of released all over the place. And then we're going to be releasing another song that we've writing at the moment. Basically, we've got about 3 or 4 that we're demoing at the moment, and we're going to record them in kind of probably June or July, and then we're going to release that, and then do some more touring around September, October time, and then just keep going really, and play and record more, and just get out there and do it.
Fantastic. Now, for Rock Metal Nation, who's currently frothing at the ears at everything that you just said, the next logical question is, where can we find you guys on the web?
So our homepage is www.katalinakicks.com, and that's with K, so it's Katalina Kicks, 2 Ks. On Facebook, again, Katalina Kicks. Instagram, Katalina Kicks. Twitter, Katalina Kicks. YouTube, Katalina Kicks. So if you just type in Google to Katalina Kicks into Google, you should find us.
Fantastic. All right, guys, unless there's anything else you wanted to throw out there, I just wanted to thank you for taking time out of your day to come onto the Rock Metal Podcast and sharing Katalina Kicks with Rock Metal Nation.
That's amazing. Thanks very much for having us. Yeah, it's been awesome. Thanks.
This is our one and only last call at 3:30. So far and insincerely, your fake news breeds prophecy. We don't care.
All right, Rock Metal Nation. Hopefully you just found your new favorite band in Katalina Kicks. Big thanks again to them for coming on and sharing their music with us. Make sure to head over to www.therockmetalpodcast.ca to get all the information on the show you just heard today. And until then, rock on, Rock Metal Nation.
Rock Metal Nation.